Hello and welcome back. As you can see in this website we're looking at right here, it's not particularly pretty just yet. So this is the freshly installed website for the domain address harbourmathstutor.co.uk that we just purchased. Just installed it. This is the default look as soon as it's installed. I say it's not particularly pretty and I would not want to leave it like this. This is the start point. So we're now going to set up all the settings that we need to do. So in the address bar, we're going to, on the end of it, put /wp-admin. And we come to this. So that address again is your domain name, your website address, and then /wp-admin. I'll put the links below this video so you've got it there. So now I'm going to log in here using the details, the username and the password that I created just now when I set up the installation of the site. And then we hit login. And now all we're going to do is pretty much just go down each of these left menu options here and change them to the settings that we want. So for each one we're just going to click through and edit. Now these red orange circles, that means there's something to update. I'm just going to click on that and update for now, so just so you can see. So I've just clicked on this update. This is the update page and it says that the Akismet plugin has an update available, so we can just tick that and update this plugin, and that's done. Only takes a few seconds. And I'm going to come back to this plugin page. Hello Dolly is almost never used. I don't know quite why they keep it in there. Just delete it. Yes, delete files for Hello Dolly. We don't need it. So Akismet is an anti-spam plugin. That's going to stop spammers being able to put irritating stuff onto your site in the comments, etc. And limit login attempt is a safety device to stop hackers being able to repeatedly try to log into your site. So just have that activated. I'll show you how to do Akismet in a separate video because it takes a minute or two to do. So for the rest of this video I'll just click down through these links and talk you through each of the things that you can do here. So we're in the post, so this is the blog posts section. There is a default demo blog post in here. We can just click to trash that. I'll do a separate video of all the little tidy up things that you can do, but this is one of them. This hello world, you can trash that. For the moment I'll just show you so you can see it on the actual website itself. This is the blog post itself. Hello world, welcome to WordPress. That is this post here. So if we trash that, it will remove it from the site. Trashing is a two-step process to make sure you don't accidentally trash things. So if we click on trash and then you go into the trash section and then you say yes, delete permanently. Yes, I really mean it and I want to delete it. So let's delete that permanently. To create a new blog post, you simply add new up here and start creating your blog post. Now I strongly suggest you don't create a new blog post until you've fully finished all the customizations that you want within your site. The reason for that being, when you set your site up properly and correctly, when you post a new blog post, it will do what's called a ping, which is a bit like an SMS, to send out a text message to Google, effectively or indirectly. It sends out to a few different ping places that will register that you've got a new post. You only want to do that when you've got a great site for Google to look at, to find, to index. So don't do it just yet, but that's how we do it. We add new. Come down to categories under posts. Here you've got a category called uncategorized. I suggest you delete that. We can't do it just yet because when we hover over it there's no delete option here. So what we have to do is create a new category. So you might sensibly put these into the names of categories within your chosen subject, within the subjects that you tutor. So let's just say if I was a maths, further maths and geometry tutor, I might break those down into my categories. And I can just hit enter to create that. So we've got a new category called geometry. Now you can see when I hover over this geometry one, there is an option to delete it, but there's not on uncategorized. That is because currently this uncategorized category is the default. So I'm going to go down and change what is the default. First of all, I'll add some more categories in. So I've just quickly added some extra categories in here. Now I'm going to come down to settings, and under settings there's a sub menu, writing. I'm just going to click on writing. Default post category, so that's what we've just created, these categories in here. So we've just created geometry, maths and further maths here. So I'm going to make maths the default post category. What that means is when it's the default post category, when I create a new post, when I add new posts. If I don't select what category it will go into, then by default it will say it's in the maths category, whatever we set here. So I'm just going to specify this. Save changes. We'll come back to this page later, but these pink bits here. So let's go back to our post categories. So now this one here does not have maths, because it's the default, does not have an option to delete, whereas uncategorized does. I want to delete uncategorized. We're not going to use uncategorized, so I'm just going to clear up and get rid of that, simply because it makes no sense to have an uncategorized category. We'll use maths effectively as the default. So that's the category section of this website. We're going to put blog post into categories. We're going to organize things into categories. There's a couple of reasons why we do this. One is for your own administration, 2 is for your students, and 3 is for Google. There's a certain way that we can set up the structure of your site such that Google prefers this system, or you will rank better because of it. It's called a silo system. It's a bit like setting up a family tree of subjects and topics and subtopics. So while we're talking about this, I'll actually change this now. It's under settings in the left menu, and then permalinks. So within permalinks setting, what permalinks means, basically the structure of how the web addresses or pages, page names within your site are going to be structured. So we've got a custom structure here. We don't want that. You could use post name, which is a simple version of it. A better option is to put this in category and then post name. The reason for that is if this category is your main topic name, so for instance geometry, any post that you put into the geometry category will have that category name as part of its web address. Google likes that because it helps Google to figure out what is the structure of this site. It helps Google to realize that this new post that you're creating is within that category, within geometry or whatever the main topic is. So I'd suggest you do this. I'll put this code below the video here, but it's /% category % / and then the post name part. I'll put it below the video so you can copy and paste this in. That's the custom structure to use. And then save changes. Permalink structure updated, so that's done. Coming back up the top of this left menu, let's click on media just so you can see that. This is where any media, images, documents, files that you upload into your site can be viewed. It's the library, the media library. So you can add images, documents, etc. into here to upload them into your site, or you can do it when you're editing a page or a post. But of all the things that you upload, they will be in this library of media items here. Coming to pages, the difference between a blog post and a page is, think of a blog post as a news bulletin, or an item, an update, and think of a page as a permanent structure, a permanent page on your website. So a page would be the contact us page, whereas a blog post might be, this week we've got some special offers on. And in the blog section, or the news update section of your website, which is a separate section, on that news or blog section, it's constantly updating, and there'll be snippets of each blog post showing, and as more gets added, the older ones get pushed down the page. That's the post, whereas the page is a whole page, whole web page all to itself. It's static, it doesn't change unless you change it, but it's something that's there until it's edited. Whereas a blog post is much more the news item that updates. So to create a page, add new. So for instance, you will almost certainly want an About Us page. In there, with your About Us page, strong tip, write a story that guides a person who's reading this page through from who on earth is this person through to I want to buy. It's a sequence of events that you want to take someone through. If someone is visiting your About Us page, there's a bit of a trust issue. They don't know who you are. They don't know if they should trust you. So that's the story that you've got to guide people through on your About Us page. You use it because what you'll most likely find is that your About Us page is probably your second most visited page on your website. After your home page, most people will at some point click the About Us page because they'll want to know the backstory of you, if you should be trusted, what do you offer, all of that. So use your About Us page to guide someone through from being someone who's got trust issues to someone who knows, likes and trusts you and is ready to buy. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it at that for now. We'll come back to that. Click publish and that page is ready and live. If I click on view page, we'll see that. So there's this page that we've just created. Again, it's not pretty yet, we haven't done all the prettification bits yet, but that's the page we've just created. Now let's quickly fly down the rest of this left menu section here. Comments. Comments are things that readers of your website can add to a blog post or a blog page if you allow them to, where they can give you feedback, ask questions, etc. So they can place a comment on your site. They will appear here for you to moderate, and you should moderate them. Do not allow them to automatically show, because you will get loads of spam and it will devalue your site. So make sure you monitor your comments. So they're in here, that any that are written by a reader on your site will show here. Appearance. This is where things get pretty, they get interesting, and they get snazzy, and you can get the look and feel of what you want. Just for demo, I'm going to click on activate this one here. So that is now our theme, our design. Theme means site layout. So now let's have a look at that. So I've just clicked across this separate browser I've got. This is what it was. If I hit refresh, this is what it is now. Literally in a couple of clicks we've changed the complete layout by changing the theme. We'll come back to themes in a separate video because there's a few different considerations to think through.